Good evening, children. I hope everyone are doing fine. So, children, let us start with the new chapter, that is chapter number 9, soil. So, about soil, we have studied in the previous lesson also, that is nutrition in plants. So, we have seen how soil is so important to plants and also in the field of agriculture, right? So, let us see in brief concept about soil in this chapter. So, before that, we shall look into the basic introduction to the chapter. So, let us begin. So, children, I know you people enjoy playing in soil, right? Yes, and we also know soil is one of the most important natural resources. So, what is natural resources, children? It is obtained in nature, it is naturally formed. Okay, and it provides a basic necessity to plants to grow, and it also supplies water and nutrients to the plants, right? And it is a home for many organisms. You see in a picture, it gives shelter to many organisms like earthworm, and few rabbits will stay inside the soil like making burrow, right? And most of the microorganisms live in the soil, isn't it? So soil gives shelter to many living organisms. So soil is inseparable part of our life. That means we can't exclude and we can't isolate soil from our life. So we need soil for every purpose. So mainly to grow plants. Soil is so necessary. So without plants, so no food to us, right? Isn't it? So soil is a basic necessity for everything, right? And whenever it rains, so we can smell the soil, right? It's so pleasant to smell the soil, and I enjoy too. And what about you people? Do you enjoy the rain and the smell of the soil or mud? Yes, it is so refreshing, right? Yes. And soil teeming with life. So, how is soil linked with our life? So, one day during the rainy season, so here one or two of your friends, that is Peli and Bojo, they observed an earthworm which is coming out of the soil. Okay, so they saw earthworm which is just coming out of the soil. So Pally, she was wondered so whether there were other organisms also in the soil. So how come the earthworm is coming outside the soil? Do any other organism apart from earthworm is staying in the soil? Let us find out. And she was wondered about that, right? And you have one activity. So before that, in the picture you can see uses of soil to make a pot. They use soil, and to walk, we walk on the soil, right? And plants are grown in the soil, isn't it? And you can see rabbit is sheltering, making a burrow, and many, what do you say, birds make nest. And also plants need soil, and for building bricks, building materials also involves the help of the soil or mud or sand, right? Yes. So here children, in the picture you can see how nice the kids are playing in the soil, right? I know you even you people will enjoy playing in soil. Yes, even I used to play in my childhood. Okay, so one activity in this topic is you need to collect some soil samples, children. So you'll get various types of soil and you need to observe them carefully. Okay, you can use a hand lens, you can use a lens and observe the soil. So examine each sample carefully, and you will be filling the table 9.1. I will show you in the next slide. And also you can discuss with your friends about what you have got, the sample, about the sample. So you should compare the soil that you have collected with your friend who has collected the other samples. Here Bojo and Peli, they have used soil in many ways. So they enjoy playing with it. So they had a great fun playing in it. Okay. And you have a table here. So here you can see serial number, soil source. So from soil source in the sense from where you are getting the soil, and plants grown in that soil, and animals that is living in the soil, and any other observation apart from this. If you observe anything, you can note it down. Okay, first will be the garden soil. So garden soil is meant to grow plants that like grass, lawns, right? And animals that is staying in garden soil is ant, you can see ant. And soil from the roadside, what it is meant for, and soil from the area where construction is going on, what you can see, and what kind of organisms you can see in that type of soil. So you should note it down. Okay. So, children, we know that plastics are being widely used nowadays, and at some extent, the government say not to use polythene bags because it is going to pollute the soil, but still we use it, right? So, polythene bags and plastic that is going to pollute the soil, children. Okay, why? Because this plastic and polythene they never degrade in the soil. They never get decay in the soil. So what happens? It will remain in the soil and it will going to pollute the soil. So they also kill the organism which is living in the soil. Just now we saw many organisms live in soil, right? So this is going to kill the organisms also. That is why there is a demand to ban the polythene bags and plastics. Okay, so other substances which pollute the soil are a number of waste products like chemicals, pesticides. Okay, we use chemicals and pesticides for crops, so that is also getting mixed up with the soil, and soil loses the fertility and that gets polluted. Okay, so waste products and chemicals should be treated, so it should be treated before we are releasing into the soil. Treated in the sense we should treat in such a way that it is not going to pollute the soil. Okay, the use of pesticide should be minimized. Okay, even pesticide usage also should be brought down. Okay. By the way, what is the profile of this soil? So we shall see soil profile. Okay. So here you can see, we can say that soil is composed of distinct layers. So how we can see, we will let you know in the upcoming session. So we need to perform the activity for this. That is activity 9.2, page 97. We need to take a little soil, children, and we need to break the clumps. Clumps ಅಂದರೆ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಲ್ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಮಣ್ಣೆ ಕಲ್ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪೌಡರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ದ ಕ್ಲಂಪ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಯುವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಟು ಪೌಡರ್ ಇಟ್. Okay, now you need to take a glass. The glass should be like transparent. Okay, because you need to see the layers, right? So take a glass, transparent one, a glass tumbler, and you need to fill the tumbler with water. Okay, 3/4 of water should be filled, right? And then you need to add a handful of soil to that and stir it well. Okay, using a stick or a spoon, stir it well to dissolve the soil. But soil doesn't dissolve, but make sure you are stirring it well. Now after stirring it, you should allow it to stay. You should not disturb it. Okay, for sometimes you should keep it aside without disturbing it. Afterwards, what do you observe? You'll observe a magic. Okay, so it is not actually a magic. So afterwards you see that there are few layers formed in the glass. Okay, like this. In the picture you can see the layers, that is gravel, sand, clay, water and humus. The particles which is more weight, that is going to settle down. The particle which is light weight, that is staying in the topmost layer, that is humus. Okay, so these are the layers of particles which is having different size. You can see in a glass tumbler, and we should draw a diagram showing these layers. I have asked in worksheet, do solve it. Okay, you can see some dead rotting leaves. Rotting means andre rotting leaves andre, so it is already dead leaves, so it is fall from the plant or trees or animal remainings that is floating on the water. Okay, so here the rotting dead matter in the soil, that is called as humus. So what is humus, children? The dead matter in the soil, it might be a plant waste or animal waste, that is said to be humus. And you probably know that soil is formed by the breaking down of rocks. You know this process, right? Weathering process. So continuous rain and water, wind is going to break a large rocks and that leads to formation of soil. And that soil is formed by the breaking down of rocks by the action of wind, water and climate, and this process is called weathering. So you will get the question, what is weathering? Then you need to be able to say this. Okay, so the nature of the, now if you take any soil, the nature of any soil will depend upon the rocks from which it has been formed. Okay, and the type of vegetation that is growing in it. Vegetation means crops. Okay, so what is soil profile, children, by the way? So it is a vertical section through different layers of soil is called soil profile. Okay, so a vertical section through different layers of soil is called soil profile. So each layer differs in feel. If you feel the texture of this, it will be having different texture. It might be in the color, it differs in color, depth and chemical composition. Okay, so these are said to be horizons. Also, okay, you will be studying about horizons in the next slide. So here you can see soil profile. We have totally 4 horizons. One is bedrock, C horizon, B horizon and A horizon. Okay, so we usually see the top surface. Now hage nodidaga ಏನು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ? We see only top surface of the soil, not the other layers which is below it, right? We can't see that. So if we look at the sides of recently dug ditch, so if you dig the soil, you see some depth, right? We can also see the inner layers of the soil. Such a view enables us to observe the soil profile at that particular place. Okay, soil profile can also seen while digging a well. So ಒಂದು ಬಾವಿ ತೋಡ್ದಾಗೂ ನಮಗೆ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ದು inside view ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so or else if any construction is going on, if they are putting foundation, then also we can see the depth of the soil, layers of the soil, right? It can also be seen at the sides of road, on a hill or a steep river bank also. The uppermost horizon is generally dark in color. So ಮೇಲೆ ಇರೋಂಥ ಲೇಯರ್ ನಮಗೆ ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಇನ್ ಕಲರ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ರಿಚ್ ಇನ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಹ್ಯೂಮಸ್, ಯು ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮಸ್ ನಾವು. ಮತ್ತು ಮಿನರಲ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಸಾಯಿಲಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದು ಡಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಹ್ಯೂಮಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ಸ್ ದ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ವೆರಿ ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರೋ ಅಂಥ ಸಾಯಿಲ್. Okay, so soil should be very rich in fertile so that the plant growth will be very good. Okay, and it is providing nutrients. This humus provide nutrients to the growing plants, and this layer is generally very soft, porous means, so it allows water to get inside the soil and can also retain more water because it is porous, and it is called the top soil, that is A horizon. ಎ ಆರಿಸನ್ ನಾವೇನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರೋ ಆಗಿದೆಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಟಾಪ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಅಥವಾ ಎ ಆರಿಸನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ಸ್ ಶೆಲ್ಟರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಸಚ್ ಆಸ್ ವರ್ಮ್ಸ್, ರಾಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, moles and beetles. You can see many organisms living in the topsoil. It might be some worms like earthworm, rodents, moles and beetles also stay inside the soil. The roots of small plants are embedded entirely in the topsoil. Okay, so the next layer has very less amount of humus but more amount of minerals. So ಕಮ್ಮಿ humus ಇರುತ್ತೆ but minerals ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and this layer is generally harder. ಈ ಲೇಯರು ತುಂಬ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ and more compact, ಟೈಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. Okay, so that layer is said to be B horizon, or we call it as middle layer. Okay, and third layer is the C horizon, so which is made up of small lumps. You can see in the picture small lumps of rocks with cracks and cervix. Okay, so below this layer there is a bedrock, so which is very hard compared to other layers, and it is very difficult to dig with a spade. Okay, it is very difficult because rocks are present, we can't break it down easily, right? So this is about soil profile, children. So I hope everyone had followed the new concept about soil. Isn't it very interesting, children? Yes, do the activity and worksheet will be sent along with this video. Do solve it. Have a good day.